the absence of a public record is almost identical to the absence of a business record. And in State versus Wheel, we have a very nice little quick example of that. We had an investigator who was looking into the fact that a judge had submitted pay vouchers. He was an assistant judge, so he had to report the days that he was sitting, kind of a substitute judge. So he would have to submit pay vouchers for the days which he claimed to have been sitting, and it became fairly obvious to people that he had claimed pay for days that he didn't show up and judge anything. And so an investigator starts to look into this, and the investigator finds that the judge had submitted a request for payments for days that his name never appeared on the case jackets. And for those of you who have done work in like a DA's office or a public defender's office, you know that at lower levels of court, the case files are kind of folded over, and you know, there's an entry on the outside of it, the defendant's name and often the prosecutor's name and the judge's name. So these jackets that would have indicated days when cases had been heard didn't have his name on any of them, and so for the days that he claimed to be paid or asked to be paid. And so the investigator wants to testify that he conducted this investigation and that he did not find any jackets on the days in question with the judge's name on them, listed as a judge. And so the defense objects that this is hearsay, that you know, the judge or the investigator's gone out and done this investigation and looked through these jackets, and rather than produce all these documents, that the investigator has simply come in and described what wasn't there, and that's hearsay. And the court says, no, this is actually not hearsay, that a witness can come in and testify to the absence of a public record. Something should have been in the public record. I looked at those public records. They're not there. So it's not just a printout. It's not just a witness who comes in and says, here's the docket sheet where something should appear. You don't actually have to bring in the documents themselves. You can actually testify to the fact that I went, I looked, I saw. Now, if you have this kind of documentary evidence, that would certainly be better from the jury's perspective if you printed out all the jackets from that particular day and were somehow able to show, you know, on a list or a printout of the judges who sat that day. That would certainly be better because it's a printed record the jury can take back to the jury room with it. But it is perfectly acceptable for the witness to testify to having gone to the place where the record would be found and not finding that record. So 803.10 is just like 803.7, I think. 803.7. An absence of a business record is just like the absence of a public record.